What's going on YouTube? So when the Lexus TX launched last year, families everywhere were excited to finally get the 3-row RX they've been asking for. And for 2025, the TX is back, and it's adding new tech and a new trim this year. So, is this the best midsize 3-row luxury SUV for you and your family? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so as always, let's start things off with the spec dump. So this continues to be offered with 3 distinct powertrains. We have the 500H model, which means it has a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired with electric hybrid componentry, making 366 horsepower. That's paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission, and our combined fuel economy for this example comes in at 27 mpg.
Now, the base price for the Lexus TX this year is $56,000. And if you're looking to buy a TX or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we're also going to be taking this out in a spin to show you the performance. We'll be getting things like our sound level reading, as well as discussing resale and reliability at the end.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood, take a look at the exterior design, as well as the very functional interior. So getting started with the exterior design up here in the front, this of course just came out last year, so we're not changing the overall design. This has a very distinct look actually for the Lexus lineup because it has what they call the unified spindle. So really almost the entire front end here, as you can see, is going to be finished in the body color, and it has less of that distinct spindle design. Now what we're with today is the F-Sport model, and one of the things that I really am happy to tell you guys about is the fact that previously, last year, you could only get the F-Sport with the 500H performance powertrain. That made the price tag pretty expensive. And F-Sport's always been very important to the Lexus lineup, so they've now brought that down to the standard 350 lineup. So you now have the 350 F-Sport handling, which will give you this overall design that's a little bit sportier with that base powertrain. Now, taking a look at our lighting, you've got the reverse arrowhead daytime running light. You have your projector LED low and high beam right there. We also do have LED fog lamps inside of this blacked out housing. Now, of course, as we move around to the back, the TX does have that signature Lexus design.
Yeah, and it is kind of big, and we even have some blacked out elements here in the C-pillar to give you a little bit of that sportier overall look. Now, as far as some of the design touches for this 500H, we have a spoiler up top, we have a wiper right through here, full-length Lexus LED taillights. Drew's gonna hop inside and check out to see if all the elements are LED. As you can see, we have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, LED amber turn signal indicator, so that's standard across the entire TX range. And as we drop down to the lower fascia here for the 500H, because it is F-Sport exclusive, that does mean you're going to get this aggressive lower diffuser area. All TXs tow 5,000 pounds regardless of which powertrain you select.
Now moving on to our wheels, you do have 20 and 22-inch alloy options. These are the 22-inch alloys. They come standard on the F-Sport, both the 350 and the 500H. I do like this overall multi-spoke design. As you can see, it's got a dark black and gray finish in contrast. Now up here you've got your F-Sport branding, blacked out mirror surrounds for the F-Sport models, and these are fully loaded no matter which trim you choose, so that means you have blind spot monitoring, you have heating, auto dimming, and power folding.
Now, what's the reason you buy the Lexus TX? Well, because it's big, 203 inches long. This is actually the longest Lexus SUV you can get. It's longer than the LX, the GX, the RX, of course. So that's certainly something to keep in mind. This is a big SUV. We'll talk about the space a little later on. Now, as far as some of the design elements, we do have some blacked out roof rails as well as some black accents for our door handles. And for your safety systems, this is a family SUV after all. Lexus is giving you every single one of those as standard equipment. That will even include advanced features like front cross-traffic alert, as well as an available traffic jam assist. But guys, there's some new tech on the inside that we need to dive into. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now let's check out the inside. First, of course, here's our Lexus key fob. Just your typical Lexus Smart Entry key fob. Of course, that is standard equipment. You do also have a digital key option as well. And to get inside, just reach behind the handle. There is a touch-sensitive pad. Since this is an electronic door handle, you just pinch that, and that will open up the door. All right, and taking a look at the inside. Like I said at the exterior portion, this really does have a very, very functional interior. But before we get into all those specific details, of course, we got to start off by talking about our seats. So there's a lot of trims, and each one is going to have some different characteristics on board. Speaking of this 500H specifically, we do have a real leather seat. This does have the color options of black or birch, but as you notice here, this is the heavily bolstered F-Sport seat, so only the F-Sport models will get this kind of seat that's going to really hold you in place. You also have 10 ways of power adjustment on board with 2-way lumbar support. Some of the luxury models do get an additional level of adjustment as well, and you have memory seats standard. So let's go ahead and get inside. And I did just misspeak just a second ago. These seats are actually the new Lux. You can get the F-Sport luxury model. That gives you the real leather. Now, let's take a look at the rest of the cabin materials. Over here on our door trim, you've got the leatherette going through here, as well as the entire center section. Soft touch plastic along the very top. Moving to the upper dash, this is all a soft touch plastic all through here. We've got a leatherette material that runs through the center section, and you'll notice that we've got some suede inserts that run across the dash there. Moving down to the center section, this is all going to be padded, of course, for your knee to rest against. And then you've got a little bit of wood that kind of runs in this tiny strip around the outside edges of here. Let's go ahead and fire it up with the push button start up here, kind of inside of the display. Now, if you have a keen eye and are perhaps a Lexus enthusiast, you might already notice that nice tech enhancement for 2025, and that is right here with our gauge cluster. So this is kind of happening really across the entire Lexus lineup. We're seeing this new 12.3-inch digital display take over from that previous 8-inch one. It's obviously kind of a nicer display. You get more information, more customizability. So when you do things like change the drive mode to sport, like I just did, you get those different graphics. And again, you can fully customize this. Now your upper end examples have an available head-up display. This one does not have that, of course. And then as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the special F-Sport steering wheel with the perforated leather on the outside edge. Feels really nice in the hand. It is power, tilt, and telescoping. We also have standard heating across the lineup. But this TX, like I said earlier and several times already, it has really great packaging and is really utilitarian. So let's kind of look at what types of storage we have up here in the front. That begins with our center console, of course. You'll notice inside we've got some donuts. That's because here at Car Confections, we put donuts inside the center console to test the volume. And today we have 19 donuts inside. That's right, 19. So that well passes up the dozen donut test and definitely passes with flying colors. Now in front of that, you have 2 cup holders, but these aren't just your normal cup holders. These are actually removable cup holders, so you can pull both of these out like so, and then you can use this storage cubby for whatever larger object you want that's not a beverage. Now you've got a wireless phone charger, up there in front of that, and then you can actually press this back and reveal another storage cubby. This one has a felt lining down at the bottom, so plenty of places to stick your little odd and end objects. After I put those cup holders back, let's take a look at the shifter. As you can see, it's a small little electronic style shifter. Just pull back for drive. We do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Going into reverse, you're going to see either the standard backup camera or this 360-degree camera system. So this is actually part of a technology package. And as you can see, you do get that nice overhead view. It also has the transparent view. As you back up, you can kind of see what's underneath of the vehicle. And this also has the automatic parallel and perpendicular parking abilities inside that same package. Press the P there for park. You have your electronic parking brake with brake hold located right behind that. Now as we continue upward, we'll next come to our volume knob. We have the available 21 speaker Mark Levinson Pure Play audio system, and let's give it a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality is quite good. It certainly fills up this big cabin very well. Now, as we move to the next section, we have our climate controls. We have standard 3-zone automatic climate. That's really going to occupy this lower panel of the display, and then inside the display itself, you'll notice that we have physical controls to make those temperature adjustments, which I certainly appreciate having something tactile to reach while driving. Now, in terms of the other things inside of this, you'll see that you have heated seats, standard on every single model. Ventilated seats are standard actually on all but the very base trim level. And then additional climate functions are located right there. Now, in terms of the display itself, it is a 14-inch display. It does have the latest and greatest version of the Lexus infotainment system, meaning that you have wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Inside of there, you have various functions such as the drive controls and all your different functions right through there. Up top here, you got an auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes. The digital camera rear view mirror is offered as an option on every single model. And then up top, you'll notice that we actually don't have a sunroof on today's example. It is not standard on the 500H. You have to get the 500H luxury model to get the panoramic sunroof. You can also get that, of course, on most of the 350 trims as well.
But the real reason you buy a Lexus TX is for this second and third row area, as well as the cargo space. But let's go ahead and dive into the second row space first. So we're sitting at about 39.5 inches of legroom and about 38.5 inches of headroom. Those are both very good figures for this segment. It's definitely going to be larger than most of your main... Now that I've been interrupted, that is a little bit better than what you get in an Acura MDX, for instance. So certainly a very big option. I'm 5'9" for reference, and this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". We're looking at about 7 inches of additional knee room. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seat. Now, speaking of these seats, they do have quite a few ways of adjustment. So first of all, we can recline them. And we can also slide them forward and back a very good distance. That's actually done via a lever here on the side. It can actually slide all the way up to the front seat, so that's certainly quite nice. Now, you'll notice that we have captain's chairs on this model. That's actually because captain's chairs are standard on every single F Sport model, as well as the 500H variants. You can get bench seating on the 350 model, so keep that in mind. When you get captain's chairs, though, that's going to give you this center storage area with the same removable cup holders as what you'd find in the front. So a really functional amount of space, that's for sure. That does mean overall seating capacity will be 6 passenger. If you choose the bench seating, that'll be 7 passenger. As far as features, we have our own climate controls back here in the rear. Additionally, because we have one of the higher end versions, that's going to give us both heated and ventilated second row seats. Those are super nice features to be seeing at this price point. And then down below that, we have a little storage cubby, 2 USB-C ports, as well as a big household style outlet to keep everything charged up. Over there on the door trim, it is going to be pretty nicely done. We have some soft touch plastic on the upper part, as well as a standard rear window sunshade on every single model. The rest of the door trim is covered in leatherette, and you also have quite a ton of door storage down at the bottom. And now let's go ahead and check out the third row. That's a very important part of this vehicle. In order to get back there, you just press that button. That's going to allow the seat to slide right out of the way. A really nice, easy system to do so. And let's go ahead and climb back here. Now here in the third row of the TX, that's where you're going to be so incredibly comfortable. That's one of the very best things about this vehicle. 33 inches, actually over 33 inches of third row space, and plenty of headroom as well. So really good numbers. This seat is actually slid all the way back. I'm 5'9" as a reminder, and we're still sitting at a couple inches of additional knee room. My feet can also easily slide up underneath of the seat. Now, as far as the features are concerned, over here on the side, we have a cup holder. We have another little storage cubby. We have power reclining abilities. Oh my goodness, we can recline quite a good distance to really maximize your comfort. Additionally, we have a USB-C port on both sides as well as vents coming out of the ceiling. There are only 2 seats back here, but as far as this third row area, I'm going to say that this is fit for a king. Although if you're a bigger size adult, you may not want to be back here for too long, but overall this is really nice, especially considering the features. Walking up to the tailgate, we have a standard hands-free power one. And then as far as the space is concerned, that's another highlight area for the Lexus TX. 20 cubic feet behind the third row of seats. If we easily fold them with the power folding one-touch system, that will reveal about 57 cubic feet. If we fold all the seats down, you're looking at 97 cubic feet as a maximum. Now, before we get any further, I do want to point out that the power folding third row is actually standard equipment, so that's certainly quite nice. And if you're looking to see how this compares in terms of some of the rivals with cargo capacity, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, the reason you do that is because not only can you see, based on the things that matter most to you in this three-row luxury midsize segment, such as cargo capacity, technology, powertrain, and amenities, you can actually, sort them based on the things that matter most to you. So depending on what things matter most, you can figure out which might be your best option in the segment. And spoiler alert, this is going to be the biggest option in the segment, cargo capacity-wise. Now, in order to fold those second row of seats down, I do not have buttons, so I will have to go up there to do it manually. And now that we've got those seats folded down, I really do wish they would include some buttons back here to do that. Let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures. That's something we do in all of our Car Confectioners reviews. From Drew's 5'8" driving position, we're looking at 89 inches of overall length. That's really, really good. From behind the second row of seats with them slid all the way back, about 53 inches of length. From behind the third row of seats, 22 inches of length. As far as the overall opening width, 49 inches wide, and the overall height is 32 inches tall, and the seats are completely flat with the floor. Speaking of the floor, we can lift that up here. There's a little bit of extra space up underneath of here, but there is not a spare tire. Additionally, I do want to point out you have a pretty powerful outlet back here in the cargo area for any of your tailgating needs. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Lexus TX. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things. As you can see on the screen right now, we'll also be getting things like our sound level reading. First off, though, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
As quick as that, we're up to 60 miles per hour.
Nice.
So, of course, as we've talked about from the beginning, we do have the 500H. So that is the upgraded powertrain. The F-Sport Performance model does give you some nice enhancements, that's for sure. So this is a 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine. You have a front electric motor, a rear e-axle. Total system is 366 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. That's a quite notable bump over top of the standard 2.4-liter turbo four-cylinder, which is just under 280 horsepower. So you do have good benefits in terms of overall performance and acceleration.
Yeah, that standard motor has about 317 pound-feet of torque as compared to this one, which has over 406 pound-feet, so really significant upgrades. We have, of course, been and driven both versions. We actually lived with the TX 350 for a full week, so we have very extensive experience with that if you'd like to check that review out. But I think this is a big benefit, I would certainly choose this 500H, not only because it has more power, but also when you accelerate, I think it makes a lot less noise, sounds a little bit less thrashy as compared to the TX350, which can kind of get noisy under hard acceleration. I think this one does a little bit of a better job of isolating that out, and that electric torque that really gets you off the line, I think that's a huge benefit. Now, they do also offer a plug-in hybrid, so for those of you that want some form of electrification, that's actually going to be a completely new powertrain setup. That's a 3.5 liter V6, so no four-cylinder, goes to a V6. We have 2 electric motors, 404 horsepower on that one, and you have an EPA estimated range of EV only, 33 miles. Now, we have also done a video on the TX550H Plus, which is what that's called. Boy, that's a tongue twister. You can find that video on our channel as well.
Yeah, really torquey, that's for sure. Now, one of the other things you might have noticed upon that acceleration is the fact that it is actually shifting gears because we have a traditional automatic transmission. That's kind of a big difference from most of your typical hybrid systems. The performance hybrid comes with a 6-speed automatic transmission. You know, even though it doesn't have a lot of gears, it's really not a problem with this powertrain because it is so torque rich. It's very easy for you to accelerate without having to wait for a downshift.
Yeah, the TX350 will have a different power or a transmission, an 8-speed automatic, and then if you choose the plug-in hybrid variant, that will actually have an eCVT. And while we're just kind of sitting in traffic here, that does remind me to just go ahead and discuss fuel economy, because with all the discussion about hybridization and the 2 different hybrid options, you might be curious as to what type of efficiency you're going to be getting. So this 500H model is exclusive in all-wheel drive, so that's just a standard feature on this model. And we actually do get really good fuel economy, 27 mpg combined on that. It's going to be 27 city, 28 highway, 27 combined. That is a significant upgrade in fuel economy over the regular TX350 that's not hybridized. That gets 23 mpg combined for both front drive and all-wheel drive variants. That's actually going to be your only TX that you can get with front-wheel drive, by the way, as well. Now, the 550H Plus, of course, like I said, that has 33 miles of all-electric range. But now we are finally clearing out of some traffic and we're going on to the highway section. And here is where I really just want to talk about the overall ride quality for the Lexus TX. That is hands down one of my very favorite things about this TX is just how good it rides. Lexus really knew their mission. This is a, big vehicle. It has plenty of room for your family and all of their belongings. And it has plenty of comfort as well for your long road trips. And that really even goes to this F-Sport variant as well. Now, the F-Sport, they do call F-Sport handling. What that means is that they do have a special sport-tuned suspension. It's actually a adaptive variable suspension standard equipment on the F-Sport models. And that does mean that you have a little bit of a sportier dynamic as compared to other TX models, but it's still very comfortable. When you're just kind of cruising down the road like this, you're going to have no issues whatsoever. I do also find these F-Sport seats to be very comfortable, although the luxury version is even more comfortable. So if you want the most comfortable seat, I'd probably just get that one. Nice. All right. You know what time it is. Fan speed 1, rear climate is off. It's time to get our sound level reading. This will actually be the first time that we've done the 500H TX in Kentucky, so let's see how quiet it is. 55.4 decibels is what we are sitting at as our official Kentucky sound level reading for this Lexus TX 500H. That's a very good sound level reading, but I don't have to sit here and guess. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website we've posted all of the luxury 3-row midsizers that this competes with. And indeed, that is going to place it very similar to other Lexus TX models that we have tested out, including the TX 350 luxury version that we tested here in Kentucky. It is going to be not quite as quiet as an Acura MDX or an Audi Q7, though.
So right after we concluded that sound level reading, I popped it into sport mode so that we could talk a little bit about that. So this does make a pretty noticeable impact when you change the drive modes, unlike a lot of models, because like Mason said, that this has an adaptive variable suspension, so it's going to firm everything up. It also tightens up our steering system and pumps in a little bit more of like artificial noise into the cabin just to give you a sportier feel. Now, as we kind of go around this corner, we'll see how it handles. Obviously, this is, at the end of the day, a big SUV. It's not a Lexus IS like what's in front of us. Far from, but it does, like I said, firm up the suspension quite nicely compared to the premium model that we tested out, or luxury model we tested out about a year ago. This definitely does have a lot more handling prowess, especially with that variable suspension.
Yeah, I think that does make a big difference, especially if you're driving it on country or twisty roads quite frequently. This will be a lot more confidence-inspiring.
And this has dynamic rear steering as well. So I kind of applaud Lexus for adding that in there. It's not really necessary for a vehicle like this that doesn't have a lot of performance pretensions, but it does actually help you with even things like parking. Yeah, it's certainly nice to have that get up and go in something so big. All right, I think it's time to get into today's slam dunk and airball. I begin with the slam dunk. We're going to make it 2025 specific because this model adding the 350 F Sport I think is a excellent addition. Lots of people love to have the F Sport and other Lexus products, but on this one in the first model year, you had to really spend the big bucks to get the F Sport. I like that they're bringing that down, making that more accessible.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference in terms of driving with the variable suspension too. Now, on the airball side of things, really the biggest thing that we can critique about this TX is just the lack of bouginess that you feel inside this cabin. Especially this one is sitting at around $74,000. First of all, we don't have a panoramic moonroof, and second of all, that does place it within spitting distance of something like an Acura MDX Type S. That's going to have a lot more luxury. It's going to have air suspension, massaging front seats, those types of things, and that is something that this TX is missing. It's very practical, but it does skimp a little bit on the bougie luxury features and bougie luxury cabin. And let's talk pricing for this 3-row. So we're starting at $56,000, as I said, for the very base model, the standard front-wheel drive. There are a lot of different trim levels. The new F Sport handling 350, that's $65,760 as a starting point this year. If you want the upper powertrain like what we have today, so we have the 2025 TX 500. That's going to start at around $70,000. When you add in the options that we've done on this model plus 1350 destination, we're sitting at $74,830 as tested today. And depending on how spec you want your model, it can go up to about $80,000. If you're looking to buy a Lexus TX or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/new car quotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation and can help the dealers to start competing on price. We even have a monthly payment tool if you're interested in checking that out. Again, you can find that in the video description as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Lexus TX's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 53.8% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 28.1%. Now, it's worth noting those are very good resale value percentages. It's actually the best luxury brand for resale value, although it is going to be worse than other mainstream brands you might be looking at, such as Toyota.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and, of course, combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Lexus is the #1 rated luxury brand and is well above the overall industry average.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. I do also want to point out that your warranty is going to be a 4-year 50,000-mile basic, a 6-year 70,000-mile powertrain. You do also get 2 complimentary service visits. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the 2025 Lexus TX. If you enjoyed learning about the changes for the 2025 model year, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. So do yourself a favor, subscribe down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.